Hello, everybody. This is Derek, and with me today is the only man to create a hammock using his shoelaces and footprint with his toupee as a quilt. Carl Mandrioli. There he is.
The first part wasn't bad. I was like, "That's not a bad idea." Then we got real.
Then we got
to what Derek says. All right. Welcome to the Backpacking Bushers podcast, brought to you by Enlighten Equipment. Check out their ultralight, super warm tour jacket for your next trip at enlightenequipment.com. With me today is Derek Somerville, a man who hates autocorrect because it always makes him say things he didn't Nintendo.
Wow.
Too sophisticated for you.
I mean, I love Nintendo, but
too sophisticated.
Is it though?
Yeah.
Is it?
Yeah.
I feel like everybody listening just shook their head like a little bit.
I think that in reality, autocorrect kind of treats you like Siri. It's like, Derek, what you're saying makes no sense. Just stop talking.
Oh, well, you live in your world. We live in reality. That's fine.
Is that right?
Here we are. Okay. It's the 1% today, Carl. Talking about
1%. Are you in the top 1% of backpackers if you can answer our 10 questions? It's not trivia. It's like questions that typically pop up when you're outside on the trail that you got to figure out. Challenges, things like that, right?
You got to figure it out. Okay. I mean, are there things on the trail that you wonder, you're like walking on the trail and you've brought something, you've done something, and you're like, in your mind, you're like, yeah, this is totally normal. Like everybody should do this. But maybe the outsiders looking in are like, what is that? Like, why are you doing that? I feel like that is you in a nutshell. You know,
I feel like you're just describing our podcast.
That's fair.
Like, what are these guys doing?
How are they still here?
Yeah.
Getting nominated for awards and entertaining people with nonsense constantly. So
there's a lot of nonsense. There's a game show out now that's like, I forget what it's called, but something about like, are you in the 1% club or something, where they ask people all these questions and only one, they get down to only 1% of the polled people got this right. Can you answer this question? Have you seen that?
What is it, like a Japanese game show? Like, what are we talking about? What are we talking?
No, it's I think it's in multiple countries, but one of them is America. Yeah.
Oh, one of them's not Japan. Are you sure?
It might be. I don't know.
What's the name of it over there? What's the name of it?
It's like something about the 1% club. I don't know.
Oh, I haven't seen.
I'm not a game show expert. Anyway, yeah, it's okay. Why don't you watch it? Get back to us and see if you're part of the 1%. Right. I'll tell you what, I'm not, because those questions are hard. But
that goes without saying. Okay, I'll check it out. That sounds interesting. Okay.
All right, so we got the questions coming up, and then I also have a new app that is super practical that was just introduced to me by somebody that we're hoping to have on our show here this season. So we'll get to that at the end.
Okay.
All right. So Bible verse of the episode is Proverbs 1:7. The fear of the Lord is the beginning of knowledge. Fools despise wisdom and instruction. Are we about to give wisdom and instruction with this one?
Probably sage advice is my.
Think so?
I think so.
Yeah. You got some good stuff?
I think people are going to get the pads of paper out. They're going to get the little notes app open on the iPhones.
Okay.
Whatever you guys have on the Samsung.
Texting while they drive. They're going to be stopping while they're hiking, and they're going to be typing things up. That's what we want, right?
For sure. 100%.
Okay.
Here we go.
Well, can you answer your own questions?
Oh, I didn't. Well, now that you present that, that's a good question. I guess we're going to find out. We're going to find out.
I don't think I'm in the top 1%. I don't think you. I think I don't even know if you're
what
the top
percent
99%.
are you? You're saying you're 99%. Are you, realistically though? You're saying you're like what? Like top 3%?
Based on the criteria. Well, I don't know what your questions are, so we're gonna find out.
Here's what we'll do. We'll ask the questions, and maybe at the end we'll like rank each other. Like I think you're in the top 58%.
Well, you don't even know. I know you like to grade answers to questions, and you still don't know the answers. So I think you're not in the top 99%.
Wow.
I'm just gonna say
I think we're gonna. I know you like to grade things, so maybe we should just grade after this.
All right, you're starting with an F. You have only to go up from there.
Same. All right, here we go. We go.
Creative response.
That joke started you below an F. Okay.
Okay. You want to go first?
Sure. Okay. Let's start simple.
All right.
Let's start simple. Something simple. I'm on the trail.
This shouldn't be simple. This is top 1%.
This is top of
simple.
Okay. All right. You want to crack down? We'll crack down.
Yeah.
We'll crack down.
Okay.
All right. Well, I want to save this one because I think this really applies to you, though. Okay. All right. Let's start with a direct one. Let's just start with a direct one. How many snacks on the trail are too many snacks? How many snacks are too many snacks? Because I'm gonna dial like this. This sounds kind of silly, but like there's a degree where like if you're and you've said this before, like I'm gonna ultralight backpack, I'm gonna ultralight this, ultralight that, all these ultralight whatever, and then we'll go on a trip, and it's like I have enough snacks, probably not enough because I'm really light at the end. I probably should have brought a couple more usually, and then I see some of our compadres just with full gallon Ziploc bags full of stuff by the end of the trip. Is that poor planning? Is that just lazy? Is that just like I throw it in there and I don't care about the extra 5 pounds? Like, what is that? Can we do better?
The best questions, as we've learned, require monologues after the questions. So check there. Well done.
It's like your jokes where you have to like you tell the joke and then you just how many times have you told a joke? How many
snacks? That's a question. No. I got stories. I got one time.
I got it all.
I got it bring enough and. Yeah. Okay.
It reminds me of the time. It reminds me of the time you told a joke and then you had to explain it. Wait a minute. That's all the time. That's all the time. Top 1% of jokes.
I'm going to give you the recycle content award because we brought this up like I think twice.
You wanted to bring these up. You wanted to talk about these things.
So here we go. About like
we need to talk about how many snacks are too many.
How much food to bring is a challenge.
How many are too many?
I think it's a fair question to ask. But in terms of like your level of creativity, we're starting pretty low.
Look at, dude. We're not. Well, you want to mock me? Okay. We're not just gonna like. Oh, how many snacks do you bring on the trail? We're not doing that. That's like for mom and pop. We're going 1%. So I need you to like, take off your toupee and hat. Like, go deeper and think deeper. This is what this is about. Because all these questions are going to be like, we all have heard these questions probably, but like. We got to go deeper.
No. I got some creative ones, man. I got some new ones, some things we haven't talked about.
I got a couple for you.
Yeah. So, the answer is obviously going to be different for everybody. So so I think really what you're saying is if you can dial in your snacks and bring just about the perfect amount for each trip, then you are in the 1%.
Let me ask you a question. How many, I know we're like, oh, I'm going to be gone 3 nights. I'll bring 3 freeze-dried meals. Great. That's real rocket science. Nice job. How often are you really like planning out your snacks? Because you come up on the trip and you're like, I have my Monday Ziploc, my Tuesday Ziploc, my Wednesday Ziploc, my AM, PM. Like you have it all.
I actually call them day 1, day 2, day 3, to be honest.
My bad. Yeah. Day 1, day 2, day 3, whatever. I guess you could flip flop it and nobody would know. So what is that all about? Like
yeah.
How many snacks do you have at the end of the trip?
Okay. So what's the question? Why do I do that?
No, like what? Explain to me how somebody can have. Yeah, well, let me start with this. How many snacks do you usually have at the end of the trip, except the trip that we tried to like be perfect with it and ended up?
Yeah, I'm telling you, I don't have this dialed in. So you can do some sort of computation where you're like, okay, if I'm covering this amount of miles with this elevation gain, with this outside temperature, and I'm carrying this much weight in my pack, then it's going to require X amount of caloric intake. So I'm going to try to match that with my snacks, my meals. That's a little, for me, I'm just like, I just kind of throw a bunch and I'm like, that looks about right. And then go from there.
Right. That's like top 50%.
Yeah.
Right.
And obviously like I'll add more if it's a harder trip, we'll take some out if it's an easier trip. I might even you're talking about like the dinners are kind of a gimme, but if we have a really easy trip, I've been snacking all day. I'm not typically hungry for dinner.
Okay, so if you're one of these people, it's like I did this many miles, I calculated my elevation gain, like the very technical thinking people. Are they like, are they dialing all their snacks, or they just bring in the extra weight and they don't care? Are they putting more thought into it?
Spreadsheet people out there that have this dialed in, and I think they're in the top 1%.
That's it. Yeah. So you have no input. You have no sage advice for the people. What do you say?
This isn't necessarily an advice episode. This is just kind of, can we answer these questions, and we're kind of challenging everybody else out there. Can they answer these questions for themselves?
Okay. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Here's mine.
All right. Go ahead.
Next one. So this one is something that people get really nervous about, and that is the forest fires, especially in the West here. So if you're in the top 1% of backpackers, if you know what the top 2 most common mistakes are that lead to forest fires, like by campers and backpackers. Number 1's really obvious. So Derek, you probably know the number 1 answer, right?
Of starting forest fires?
Yeah.
Cigarettes. Accident. It's obviously cigarettes.
Because you feel like a lot of campers and backpackers are also smokers, you're saying.
Big time smokers. Cigars and cigarettes, Carl. Come on. Everybody knows that.
Incorrect. So you're definitely not in the top 1%. This question, the number one cause is not putting out campfires. We've come across campfires that are still going. They're still
many times.
Yeah.
Many times.
So that's the number one. But the number two, I didn't know until I just recently learned this. So I don't have the right answer for this one. And this one surprised me, and I still don't really get it. I don't understand why. Okay. But the number two answer is when you burn your own toilet paper.
It starts forest fires?
Yeah. The number two cause by campers and backpackers.
I guess they have investigators that can track it down to what started the fire.
I don't know how maybe they have some sort of like,
dude,
they find a source, there's like fecal matter around there. I don't know how to figure that out.
That's disgusting. No, there's fire arson investigators like on podcasts and like interviews. I've heard some of those on shows and stuff where these guys are so smart how they like figure it out and they explain how they did it. I don't know how they track it down to toilet paper. Like, what is it about toilet paper? I'm guessing like you burn toilet paper and then it floats away and starts fires. Like, what is top 1% answer, guys?
That's not what you want. So I would guess that they like get it down to an area, and a lot of people go to the bathroom. Number two, around where they're camping, so they look and see who's got permits for that zone, and they're like, well, did you put out your campfire? Oh, we didn't have a campfire. Okay, then what did you burn? Well, we burned our toilet, and it's like kind of that kind of thing, maybe. I don't know. I think.
How many people burn their toilet paper? Like, you save your toilet paper and then burn your poo paper?
So here's why I think it's weird is because theoretically, so if you dig your cat hole and then you do your business, then you put your toilet paper in the cat hole. If you burn it in the hole, then once it's just about out, you're just going to put the dirt over it. And so it should snuff it out. It shouldn't cause a fire theoretically, right?
I mean, how many people are doing their business in the hole and then they're like, I'm going to light this on fire. Boom. And then it just gets away from them and the forest starts burning and they can't handle it. And it's like
in high winds, the toilet paper does start floating.
Is it a windy day? Are you pooping on top of a mountain? Like, what are you doing?
That's a fair question.
What's going on there?
That happens, but I don't know. I just thought it was interesting. So just be careful burning your toilet paper.
That's enough to be number two. Well, I think the third reason you start fires is the whole, like you do. You bring your little magnifying glass and try to burn bugs on the trail like a meanie, and that starts forest fires.
I do. I try to burn bugs. Thank you.
Okay. Okay. I'm gonna bring this one up. This is we've known some people that do this. I'm sure there's other people that do this. Are flip flops good on the trail in the long run? Because right? Because most of us bring the shoes, the hiking shoes, but we know, and I'm sure there's other people out there that they wear flip flops on the trail.
Like flip flops while hiking or flip flops in camp?
Hiking.
Wait, we have somebody who's done that before in our group. I just
said that. Yeah.
But I've never seen anybody else. Well, yeah, I've never seen anybody. I've heard of it happening. This is a common thing.
You are you telling me there's 8 billion people and nobody else does this? Of course people do this. And we had an issue one time where the flip-flop broke, right?
Okay.
And we have all this crazy terrain, and luckily we had some magical way. I think it was with a safety pin to put it back together or something, and it managed to hold. Like, is this asking for trouble? Like, what do you think about this?
I definitely want to award you with the terrible question award. Like, this has to be your worst one.
Look, all you want to do is mock. That's cruel. That's the simple.
So we're talking about the top 1% of backpackers, and your question literally is: should you hike in flip flops? That's not a question that people struggle to answer. The answer is no, of course. What kind of question is this? You already told a story about why they broke, and you're just kind of supporting that answer.
Look, you know what? I'm going to give you that one because I mocked your joke. You can mock that one. Okay. Even though I still am curious about it. I'm still curious about it.
All right. Next one I've got is, let's go with, are those clouds going to rain on us?
Are those clouds going to rain on us?
Yeah. So you're trying to figure out.
It's not that hard, dude. What do you mean? Can clouds rain? Like, if they're white, they're fluffy and they're friendly. Okay. If they're gray, they're dark and they're moody. I mean, like, what are we talking about?
So are they going to rain or are they not?
Did you take weather class in elementary school?
No. Did you
do that?
Anybody else in the entire world? That's not a real class.
Chapter. Did you skip the chapter on that?
Weather.
Do you know clouds?
In elementary school is.
What do you call a rain cloud? What do you call it? There's a name for it. The menacing dark cloud with gray all over it, covering this. What is it called?
Derek, the question, did you take weather class in elementary school, is actually
Don't
a better
flip this
question
around.
than should you bring flip-flops on the trail?
Don't flip this around, dude. Don't flip it. I want to know if you can name what do you call a rain cloud? I don't think you know. I don't think you know.
I'm still hung up on your absurd
You
question.
don't know what it's called, dude.
I don't. Yeah, I'm not a
Tell me what a rain cloud's called.
100%. I fully admit, if there's certain parts of the country in the world where you can tell, like, okay, clouds are rolling in, that's going to rain, or that's just going to give us cloud cover and it's not going to rain. But there are parts, especially in the Rockies, where if clouds are rolling in, you can have the dark clouds and you're going to get nothing, or you're going to get a downpour, or you're going to get a few drops, or you're going to get hail. Like it's impossible to predict. But some people are better than others. And so if you can answer the question, are those clouds going to rain on us? My friend, you're the top 1%.
Okay. All right. That was painful.
So you always know when it's going to rain or not. I don't think so.
I didn't say that. Nobody said that. I'm saying Mother Nature is far smarter than all of us in the sense that, yes, you could have dark clouds, gray clouds, and they're not going to rain. However, if you see a cumulonimbus cloud, Carl, then there's a good chance there's probably going to be some kind of rain or sleet or whatever. So, I mean, why don't you just, if you see dark and gray, just prepare for the rain. If not, then don't. Get the jacket out.
That's really wise advice.
Get the poncho out.
A couple things. Like I'm proud of you for Googling types of clouds and then coming.
I'm glad that you didn't even know that and you avoided that question.
The second thing I'm proud of is that you think Mother Nature is like a real person. That's fictional characters aren't making decisions for us.
We're talking. Look, if you want to go to, I think this is what you do when you know that you've been had. You don't know the name of a cloud because you don't know the name of a cloud.
Should you wear flip-flops on the trail? And Carl, you've been had.
Carl, what's the name of the cloud that you learned in 4th grade? I don't know. I didn't go to 4th grade out here in Colorado.
I know different clouds. I know that cirrus clouds are unlikely to be rain clouds, but you never know, man.
What does a cirrus cloud look like? So, do you even know what it is?
What?
You don't even know what it is, do you?
What is?
What's a cirrus cloud? What does it look like?
These wispy clouds that are like higher elevation.
Wispy clouds at a higher elevation.
That's correct.
Man, how do you make it through life? I don't know. You're a teacher, dude. You're a teacher.
Yeah.
Let's keep going.
I don't know what's funny about that. That's a correct answer. All right, move on. What's your next one?
Higher elevation.
Should you walking your hands on the trail? Is that your next question?
Oh my gosh. Okay. Let's see. Okay, why is it necessary to bring any question I really do here? You're just gonna mock it anyway. It doesn't really matter. You're just like, I can see you over there on your side. You're just like,
I'll make you deal. I'll make you deal. I'll only mock if it's terrible.
That's you're probably gonna mock it then. Okay, what is the correct distance a new hiker should appropriately hike on their?
There's a good one. I like that one.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Yeah, that's good.
What's an appropriate distance?
Like how long should your trip be? Maybe miles per day, kilometers per day. If you're bringing a newbie, right?
Is there an amount? Because we have interviewed a young lady a few years back. I can't remember her name, but she was it her first trip. She did the PCT trail, and she hiked the whole thing. We were just like, "What? Your first trip? That's crazy, right?" But maybe that's an exception.
That's not typical, obviously.
No, so like your normal standard 3-4 day whatever trip.
Yeah.
How many miles per? Okay. Maybe let's break it down to per day.
No, I don't have it. I'll be honest. I'm not in the 1% of this one because I don't know. Because sometimes, so like you didn't do a ton of hiking. Like you played some basketball. You had like this general fitness, and you were able to do quite a bit. We brought another guy on a trip. And he was an ultra marathon runner who did 100-mile trail races.
Yeah.
And this guy, and we went on a pretty aggressive trip, and this guy struggled more than anybody else. Like at one point, we were taking things out of his pack.
Yeah.
And he had this massive blister in the bottom of his foot that was like impossibly bad, that covered like the whole ball of his foot, basically. And he just couldn't move. And if anybody would have been prepared to switch from, like a ultra distance running event to backpacking, I thought he would be, and I was wrong.
Yeah, that was surprising. So
I don't know. So I would always start easy and then move up from there. But what's easy to somebody,
I mean, can you gauge willpower? Can you gauge what kind of person like can push through difficult situations? Because I think that plays a role in hiking. At least it did for me, and I know it has for many other people. Like if you're in a challenging situation, do you have the grit or the whatever to push through that? Right. Because, what was like the big trip we did was 50 something miles. The one before that was like a little like 13 mile or whatever, 8 mile or whatever. But if you are new and you're doing something that's like, is it like a pretty flat trail? Is it pretty wide? Is it pretty like, not a lot of hills, not a mountain pass on the trail? Like, is that doable for somebody who's like not that strong willed? I mean, if you're inviting somebody new on the trail in your group, because you've done this, right? You're the guy who's like, I'm going to invite these people. I'm going to try and set this up and I'm going to include them, which is great. But then like it's bit you in the butt many times, as we talked about, because like how much are you like assessing them before you take them on a trail, or like are you just kind of assuming you think they'll be okay?
At this point I just go, I try to do what I think is like doable or easy and then kind of go from there if it's somebody that I'm inviting. But yeah, so it's tough, man. But getting back to what you're saying about the whole grit stuff and can they push through, like can you measure that? There's people that surprise me that are way tougher than you'd think. And then there's some people that are super fit. They have a lot of experience doing a lot of endurance of events who will give up relatively quickly. And I'll say this, man, if you give up on a trip or kind of bail out, like for me, as like a trip planner, it's going to take a lot to kind of overcome that, where I'm like, okay, I'm very hesitant to invite that person on a tougher trip if they bail out.
Yeah, that's true.
So yeah,
that's fair. All right. What's your next one?
Let's see. My next one, let's go with how do I reduce? No, let me change that. I'm gonna go with how do I get my slow friend to move faster?
Are you talking to me?
Is that your interpretation?
That's usually your joke of the day, so I don't know if that was okay.
So here's, I mean, if you are going impossibly slow, maybe they're taking like tons of breaks, they're fatigued, they're, like you're like, let's take a moment here. Let's take a moment. And then they like sit down. You're like, dang it. No, a moment.
Like a minute
maybe take like their shoes off and then they're like airing out their feet. Take a moment. Like, how do you get that person to move faster? Especially if you're like, I don't want to get to camp at nighttime. Like, please, I don't want to hike in the dark. All right. So I don't know that I have an answer for this one. What do you do, Derek? Are you in the top 1%? How do you get that guy to move faster or that girl?
I mean, I think it boils down to one of those things where, like here, okay, two things. One, let me start this with a question. Like, you're often the leader of a trip, right? You bring people, blah, 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 blah. If they see you stop and take off your pack, are they more likely to do that? Because if they stop and take off their pack, doesn't mean you're going to do it. You might just keep going, right? So in that mindset, okay, let's take a break for like a couple minutes, but then I think it just comes down to one of those things like, let's chit chat for a minute or two. And then like, all right, I'm going to keep pushing forward. If you need a break, cool. I'm going to keep going. And like leaving them there, just leave them there. And they're going to be like, just leave them there. Because like, if you stay, you chit chat, like it's just going to drag it out. Right. If you got to get going, be like, dude, all right, okay, I got to keep going before I like tighten up, like say something like that. And then boom, I'm going to go. I don't want to tighten up. I'm going to keep going.
Okay. I'll tell you what I've tried. Okay. And I know just like everybody's different, obviously, but I've tried strip. Give me some gear out of your pack. This is obviously, we got to get going here. So give me some gear to pack. I'm feeling good. Okay. Give me some gear. The most common answer to that is no. I don't want
to do it.
Right?
They're not understanding the situation.
Yeah.
Is that what
or the pride sets in, one of the two, right?
Right.
So I'll be honest, man, if I'm like having a really hard day and I'm struggling, I'm like, dude, this is like, I'm holding everybody up. And you come down and you're like, Carl, give me some of your gear. I'd be like, all right, I'm having a tough day. Maybe tomorrow I'll feel better and I can take some of your gear. We can kind of even things out. But for now, here you go. Here's my sleeping bag. Here's my, cooking pot, my fuel, my bag of weights, all that stuff. So there you go. And then, so that doesn't work. sometimes if you hike with them, they don't care. They'll go whatever pace they're gonna go. Trying to encourage them. Some people like get annoyed by that. They're like, get away from me. Like, I get it. You want me to go faster, but stop bothering me.
You probably annoy people more when you hike behind them, I would imagine. Because then they feel.
I've tried behind them. I've tried going ahead. So now I'm giving them space. And then I had one guy like take a really long break and then fall asleep on the break because there's nobody around him. And so nobody's there to like poke him and see, like, let's go. So
like if you're taking his gear out of his pack and you're taking all that stuff, that takes a lot of time to then pack it in your pack and like make sure it doesn't.
They're not giving it up though. That's not a solution. They typically don't give up their gear. Some people do, but most people do not.
Maybe you just throw out the old adage like, hey, I think I see some dark gray clouds up ahead. We got to get moving. I'm going to get going. I don't want to be in the rain at night here.
I have more thoughts on that for the next episode for sure. So we'll get to that.
Okay.
But yeah, okay. Next one, what you got?
All right. We've talked a lot about like technology on the episodes, battery packs, phones and things like that, and headlamps and flashlights. And like, what about the battery situation? Like, how long do you leave your battery? Like, how long do you leave your batteries in your headlamp? How long do you leave your batteries in your headphones or your flashlights before you swap them out on the trail? Are you just taking them out on the trail 3 trips and then you're like, like how?
Your question is like, how long do batteries last basically on the trail, right?
Well, various batteries, yeah. Since tech is now a big part of outdoor backpacking.
And that includes the rechargeable batteries as well. And the answer is, who knows, right? Like, is that going to be enough? I don't know. We're going to find out. I don't have an answer.
You're great at this.
I'm not. I told you I wasn't in the top 1%. I told you
were lying. You were not lying. Okay, so what about this? What about your headlamp? We'll start with an easy one. Your headlamp.
Yeah.
You put in your little 3 AAAs.
Yeah.
How many trips do you go before you're like at home? You're like, and doing your backpack. You're like, oh yeah, you know what? I see that white acid on these. I better swap these batteries out. Like, how long are you waiting?
Well, some people are using rechargeable headlamps at this point, but I do still have the AAA ones. So a lot of people that are using AAAs, they'll just, they're going to swap it every time. They don't want to take the risk of running out of battery, which is obviously like a lot of waste of battery juice. So my style is I test it out. I turn it on. If it turns on, then I bring it. And then if it doesn't turn on, then I replace the batteries. And if they burn out on the trip, which I think it's only happened one time, then I just tough it out.
Wow.
Just a headlamp. It's just a headlamp.
Real grinder. Okay.
Yeah. So what's your solution? This is your question.
I mean, essentially you have 2 flashlights though, right? Like I didn't even bring a headlamp last trip. I just used my phone, which was doable.
Right.
It's not annoying. I think it's like 2 trips, like 1 or 2 trips, and I'll swap them out. Okay. But honestly, like, also, if you let your battery's sitting there for a long, well, I mean, you're going more than I am. So, like, if your battery's sitting there too long, it's going to get kind of corroded and stuff. But I think every 2 trips, I'll swap them out.
Every 2? Okay.
And then if they break, because you're only using it at night for like what, like an hour tops, ish, maybe 2.
Yeah, we've gone longer than that for like playing cards and stuff. But yeah, I think what's interesting with the whole like you're talking about the headlamp situation specifically is a lot of people that are like way into trail tech are definitely like over flashlighted, right? Because if you get your headlamp, then you have your phone. Right. Those are the 2 most common ones. But now they're bringing the pad pumps. Oh, but this pad pump actually doubles as a flashlight. And then they're bringing the batteries. Oh, but this rechargeable battery actually has a flashlight feature on there. So before you know, you have like 5 or 6 flashlights. You're kind of over flashlighted.
So maybe we don't even need to worry about the batteries then. If you're just bringing all this.
That's why I don't worry about them. And then what I can do? I'll just like if my headlamp burns out and we actually do truly need it, then I'll just like take it out of your pack and call it good.
All right. Okay.
Yeah. All right.
What do you got? I think I got one more here.
Let's see. You got one more. Okay. This is my 4th of 5. Let's go with what's the best water bottle to use?
What's the best water bottle?
What's your answer to that one?
That's worse than my flip-flops.
No, it's not because it's gotten more controversial in the last year.
It's a water bottle. I still okay. The more and more I just lent all my gear to a buddy on a trip, and he's like, well, what do you use when you take water? He's like, the first thing he said, I don't really want to take a bladder.
Right.
The more and more I go, the less I want to take a bladder.
Right.
Do I have one? I have 2, but I don't bring them for various reasons. But
because they leak in your pack every single time. You're still figuring out how to screw that thing shut.
No, incorrect. I think it takes more room up in the pack. That's kind of annoying.
Okay.
And then like when I have to fill it out and like put it back in, it's just I don't and have the hose. It's not like I would do it, but I think I just like having. Here's the real reason I don't bring it is because I like having the option of just reaching behind me quick on the trail, boom, grab my electrolyte drink in one sports bottle, and then boom on the other side is just water.
Sports bottle. That's your answer.
So I go double sports bottle, Carl.
Yeah,
that's what I'm doing. Okay.
You didn't like this question, but as you started digging in, you're like, oh, there's more to this question, isn't there?
I'm just listening to facts. You know what I mean? So
yeah, because you're just scratching the surface. Now we're talking about we've been making fun of Nalgene's for years because they weigh over 6 ounces empty, but now there's a push to use Nalgene's because they're more environmentally friendly and you're getting fewer like microplastics in your system by using them versus like the smart water bottles, which are very lightweight. But apparently when the sun hits them, it breaks down the plastic.
Those are terrible. Yes. Mine are in between though. Mine's like in between.
Yeah. It's so like you're getting like half the microplastics, right?
Correct. I mean, honestly, let's touch on the Nalgene's real quick because it's exhausted beyond belief. But when you bring the Nalgene and you're walking on the trail and you want to drink the water, what do you have to do? You have to now stop, take out your pack, undo the Nalgene, or dig it out of your blah 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 blah. Like it barely fits in the side pocket. You can't just go and suck on the tube of the the Camelback or whatever bladder you have, and you can't just like reach around and grab a quick sports bottle, stick it in your mouth, put it back, keep walking. You got to stop. It's like a whole thing. It's just annoying talking about it.
And you know who likes doing that?
And
is the slow friend. They want to stop.
It's making a comeback. Yeah, because they'll be like, "Oh yeah, no, it's getting a drink of water."
Yeah, they're like, I just want a sip, and then they take 10 more sips. They're like, actually, I want another sip.
Is that a good way to filter who goes on a trip? Like, hey, what's your water setup? Like, what are you bringing for your water bottle? If they say Nalgene, you know what? I think the trip's full. I don't think you.
Wow,
is that it? I think I figured it out. I just figured
you are uninvited from the trip simply because of your water bottle choice.
If you're a Nalgener, you're off the list.
That's no, I don't think so. I think I just brought a Nalgene on the Catalina trip just to prove.
You did it on purpose, though.
Yeah, but I don't know. I think
you're just annoying like that.
Yeah. If you can hack it, you can hack it. I don't think so. You're a little mean on that one. I apologize, folks. Don't feel judged by Derek because of his Nalgene hate.
Just you know what? There's all kinds of love, and that's tough love.
Okay.
If you're one of those people,
I still use a smart water bottle. I have a feeling. I mean, every snack that I bring, I feel like everything's like wrapped in plastic. I feel like I'm getting microplastics no matter how I do it. So I'd rather have the lightweight version.
I feel like you're oozing microplastics out of your body every day, probably.
So
yeah, that's cool.
All right, last one for the 1%ers.
1%. Let's talk about clothes, Carl. How many outfits or not outfits? That sounds weird. How many types of clothes is appropriate to bring on a trip? Like not appropriate. Like how many is too many? Like you know what I mean? There's so many variations.
I feel like I can't answer. I feel like I'm pretty dialed in on the clothing thing.
You are.
Yeah.
But it's not about you. It's about everybody. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but we're challenging everybody individually to be part of this 1% club. And
okay,
I'm not qualifying, but I think I qualify with this question.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay, here we go.
Yeah. It obviously depends upon time of year, where you're going, and all this or that. But for the most part, like you just want to bring the minimum amount of clothing that it takes to comfortably complete the trip, right?
Ideally, but some people would strongly disagree with you. I think some people are like, I like a fresh shirt. I like fresh shorts. I like fresh.
Yeah. Right? So I think the real question boils down to like, what should you bring doubles of? Like, what should you have more than one of? Let's say on a 4-day trip. And so, Derek, what do you bring more than one of on a 4-day trip?
I think we all know I bring more than one pair of socks. I'm weird with the socks, right? I will bring a separate pair of socks for each day, whereas you just bring like one, maybe two.
I bring two.
So I think it just depends on what's. I mean, for me that helps me a lot mentally. I think to have a fresh pair of socks. I don't know why. It just.
If it's gonna be a cold or wet trip, I might bring a third pair for sure.
Yeah. So I think beyond. Let's say it's a summer trip. You're in the mountains somewhere. Maybe there's a forecast of some rain. Other than me bringing like my initial day one shirt. Quick drying shirt, my initial pants, which I probably wore the entire time regardless. I'm probably bringing a pair of socks for each day. I'm probably bringing one extra shirt, like a short sleeve, stretchy shirt, and then I'll bring obviously the pajama pants, and then I'll bring I'll probably bring like a rain shell jacket, and
I'm
I'll
not asking
probably
what clothes you have. I'm talking like what do you bring doubles of? So socks is it so far?
probably jackets. I bring 2 jackets, right? I bring the fleece for camp.
Okay.
I bring the rain jacket, and that's it.
You can make the case that those are single things. You get the rain jacket for rain. You get the mid layer for.
I don't know. People
warmth,
wear the rain
right?
jacket everywhere. You wear your rain jacket at camp, don't you?
Yeah, but I mainly bring it for rain.
Okay.
So if I knew it wasn't going to rain, I'd bring a different jacket.
But do you bring 2 types of like warmth thing? Like one for camp, one for
So
anyway?
depending upon if we're going in like the Rocky Mountains, I'll bring like a mid layer for sure. And then I mentioned I would bring like the Torrid Atlanta Equipment Torrid jacket is my mid layer. But yeah, for doubles, I'm bringing socks. I'm bringing a base layer underwear, and that's pretty much it for doubles. That's it. So that keeps.
And you don't really bring pants. You'll occasionally bring your rain pants.
Again, cold weather, rainy trip.
Right.
Yes.
So if it's not a rainy trip, I don't bring rain pants. If it's a rainy trip, I'm bringing. Man, I might have triples. I got the PJ pants.
Yeah.
I got the rain pants, and I got the pants I'm wearing every day.
I'm gonna say you're not part of the 1% on this one.
I think I got it pretty dialed in. My pack's usually the lightest of group, first or second lightest.
You might be, but not for clothing.
Definitely overall is really what I'm carrying.
We're talking about your question about clothing.
Fine, bulk it up. It's still light.
All right, last question. Last one to be part of the 1% club, and I have the correct answer for this one.
Oh,
I'm nervous that a lot of you folks do not, though.
Oh,
and it's just a yes or no question. Is a buff
here we go.
really worth the money? The answer is no. Can you find a million uses for that shirt sleeve? Of course. You can justify it any which way you want to. Is a shirt sleeve worth $35 to $70, depending upon which kind you get? The answer is no, and that's a hard and fast rule here that there's really no wiggle room on that one.
I'm gonna ask you a personal question right now. I'm gonna ask: is this just another way for you to vent about your beef with the buff? Because I think we've all heard it about 5,000 times, and then if you wanna package it, it's like this is a 1% questionable bluff. People need to know it's $35, and then you go down your little rabbit hole of how much it is and how worthless it is to spend this much money. Here we are again. I feel like I'm just rinsing and repeating. Is that what it's really about, or is it really?
You want to talk about food out the gate? Like, how much food should we bring? Which for the 3rd time this season, and now you're complaining about the buff.
This is what he does, folks. When he gets put in a spot, he flips it back on me, folks, and that's okay. I can take it. I'm going to take it for the people.
It's literally what you're doing right now.
I'm going to take it for the people.
It's literally what you're doing.
We all want to know, what is the deal? We know the buff is what it costs. Okay, $20, $30. They're still going to buy it. I have no problem with the buff. I use the buff every time.
There is no limit to the cost, and people will buy it. You're correct.
You know what? I lent my friend the buff. He didn't know what it was. He's like, "What's this?" I was like, "Just take it, wear it around your neck.
You can do a bunch of things with it."
Well, I said, "Take it around," and then I was like, "Just figure it out. Just take it." He didn't know what it was. He didn't know what it was called. He's like, "People use these." I'm like, "Yeah. Just take it." Okay. He came back from the trip. He's like, "You know what? If there was one thing, I'd say that was the most valuable thing that I brought on this trip, other than all of your lightweight gear that everybody else was jealous of. It was this gray thing. Like, what is this called?"
You're just making this up.
I'm not making this up. I promise you, if there was a Bible around, I'll put my hand on it right now. One of my best friends just got back from a trip, and he brought all my stuff back. And this is what he said.
Why didn't you go? Best friends going on a backpacking trip, and you're not even invited? This is not a good sign.
Well, he went with his boss and his family or whatever. I'm not going to go.
I don't care.
He doesn't have backpacking gear. So
you could be the guide.
Whatever.
That'd be awesome.
I'm not gonna be the guy. They go to the same spot.
I would watch this as a TV show. You guiding a trip with your friend and his boss.
Him and his boss's family go to the same place. It's over by Hetchechi every single year, and they do the whole thing. Anyway, he comes back and he's like,
"Just bring pajama pants like I suggested."
Don't interrupt the story. We're gonna get to the point of the buff, and you're gonna be really annoyed and try to.
You already shared the outcome. You shared the outcome.
He's like, "What is this called?"
The whole story with the same outcome.
No, there's more. I said, "What is?" He's like, "What is this called?" It's like, "This is called a buff." He's like, "What? A buff?" Okay. He's like, "I not only use it to block the sun off my neck, I have a snoring issue. I pulled it up over my over my mouth, and it helped me not snore. I pulled it over my head." He started going through all these scenarios where he was using.
So proud of the buff.
He's like, "I gotta get one of these. Where can I get it?" And I'm like, "Why don't you call my friend Carl? He'll tell you where to get it."
And again, am I saying the buff is not useful? No, I'm saying it's not worth the money. Go to a store, go to like a thrift store, buy a XXL shirt, cut the sleeve off for $2. Same situation.
I actually just might do that to prove to you how ridiculous you sound right now.
I've already done it. I've done it before. So
you've done it. What size shirt are you wearing right now? XXL? Okay. No. So why don't maybe you should get a XXL and we should cut the sleeve off one episode and see if you can fit it over your head.
I'll buy one at a garage sale.
I want you to see you fit it over your head. That's what I want to see.
All right. I can do that. I can fit the large one over my head. So XXL.
That would be. Everybody want to see that? Write us a review. Write us a comment. Do you want to see Carl stick most people are
listening to the show. They're not watching it. Most people. So
well, if they're watching on YouTube, if they're listening, send an whatever. Send an email. Send them whatever.
Would you like to listen to Carl put a shirt sleeve on his head? That sounds amazing, doesn't it?
Well, what better way to get them to watch the YouTube clip than to see you?
We'd rather have them listen than watch. It's a better.
Why not both? Why not both? I mean, who doesn't want to see you make a fool of yourself? I know I do.
Okay, fair enough. All right. So were you able to answer those 10 questions for yourself, for your group of backpackers? If so, you're in the top 1% of backpackers. And are there any questions you think should be part of this criteria? Please let us know. Derek, I got 1% trivia coming up right after this.
All right. We got trivia.
Right. Yeah. And so I asked my daughter this trivia and she was able to pass it. And she actually got one right without even hearing the multiple choice. So all I have to say, it's a fair trivia, my friend. Fair trivia.
She got them all right without multiple choice?
She got one of them without even hearing the multiple choice.
One of them without even hearing the multiple choice? Yeah. Okay.
Here we go. All right, number one. What is 1% of the world's population? Is it A, 8 million, B, 80 million, C, 400 million, or D, 2 kajillion?
What is 1% of 8 billion? It's 80 million.
That wasn't the question. What is 1% of the world's population?
80 million.
All right, 80 million is correct. Correct. Number two, the top 1% of the wealthiest people in the world have at least A, $5 million, B, $10 million, C, $35 million, or D, $1 billion.
The top 1%.
This is, of course, all transferred into dollars.
Obviously, I think the obvious answer is 1 billion, but I know that's incorrect. I think 1% is, what was the first answer? 5 million? 5 million. And the second was what?
10 million, then 35.
This is like so ridiculous.
This is the hardest one.
I know it's one of the millions. I'm gonna say the top 1% of people have $5 million.
It is $35 million. That is incorrect, my friend. 35 million, which is way more than I would have thought. But that's the case.
I don't know.
I would have actually probably said 5 million as well if you were asking me this question. All right, number three. What makes up 1% of our atmosphere? A, nitrogen, B, oxygen, C, argon, or D, human fart gas?
Dude, who are you right now? Human, not the cow's fart, not the methane from the cow?
Not the methane.
Because aren't they both made of methane?
I don't know the composition of human fart gas. I thought it was sulfur.
People, this is what I'm talking about, okay? He mocks me for a question about flip-flops, and then he doesn't even know what a fart's made of, okay?
If you're in the top 1% of gross people.
You just redeemed my whole idiocy, this whole episode of all the lame things I've said. You just redeemed it. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Okay, I don't know if that means
I'm going to say argon.
Argon is correct. You passed trivia.
Yes.
I knew you could do it.
Wow.
I knew you could do it. Okay.
Wow.
All right. We finally, it took forever. We got a new review, my friend.
Oh, did we? Oh. All right. I got the review from Jesus Lover. As a teen who is going on my first backpacking trip this summer with my older sister, this podcast has been great to listen to and learn from while doing yard work to buy gear. Kudos to you, first of all, for doing yard work. I just did some today. It is fabulous, and I'm glad you're saving money to buy some gear. Good for you.
Oh my gosh,
it was crazy. I did it today, and I'm reading it today. It's good.
Yeah,
I especially like the Bible verses. You have done a great job. You see that? He's talking to me, not you. You have done a great job. I appreciate that. Thank you very much.
Like your wisdom is shine through to make him.
I think it's more definitely not the wisdom, more the toleration of your jokes and the hopeful humor that we're providing. So
all right, well,
that's it.
Yeah. Well, Jesus lover, thank you for the review. We appreciate it. Send us your address and we'll get you some B&B limited edition B&B stickers coming your way. And yeah, we have our email address in our show description, of course. So thank you so much. And that's true for anybody who's willing to leave a review. We would love it. And we'll read it on here. And Derek will try to relate it to himself and talk about how proud he is about his yard work or whatever else you mentioned in the review, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
That's it.
No, I want more.
Oh, you got a tidbit? It's not
no tidbit. Okay. So this one
I
was kind of teasing at the beginning is there's this one I think you're going to like, actually. So there's a new app out called Not IQ. KNOW IQ. Okay.
KNOW IQ.
Yeah, and I haven't fully tested it out yet. So full disclosure, but this is from DJ from the Bear Essentials YouTube channel. He does a lot of, he does it's a lot of outdoor adventure stuff, bushcraft, a lot of knot tying stuff. And this dude knows what he's talking about. And so he made this app. And so if you want, I feel like the knot tying stuff is like a kind of a use it or lose it skill. So if you just want to have that on hand, like it's literally going to be on your phone for you to use. If you're tying something up, some sort of tarp, if it's raining, whatever, then I think this is a super handy app to have. So
can I use it offline? Like if I'm in the woods?
Yeah. So I'll have more information about that once it's been tested. Because this is more of like a preview than a review. I would say.
Than a review. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. That's exciting.
It's a fair question though. Fair question. So I guess check it out and let us know. Yeah. How helpful that is. But yeah, I feel like I've learned so many knots and then I don't use them and I forget how to do them. But this would just be like accessible.
Yeah. I actually have a book about how to tie knots, and I think I've opened it twice. And it's like a book.
Do you know more than like 2 knots?
No, I mean I did, but then I forgot. Like you said, use it or lose it.
Yeah,
so I think having it on the phone, would be a lot easier
for sure. Yeah, so check it out. We'll have it linked in our show description. It's got both like an Android and Apple version of the app. So that, my friend, is all I got.
That's all I got, guys. Thanks again for tuning in. Send us an email or a comment of any kind. Send us a 5-star review on the Apple Podcasts or wherever you listen to your streaming media. We will see you next time. And if you need to know what a rain cloud looks like or if art smells of, don't ask Carl because he has no clue.